This is Rob, one of your FSCJ, Adult Education Academic Tutors. And in this video, we are going to talk about finding the least common multiple. So let's go over a couple of definitions. The least common multiple is the smallest multiple or product of both or all, since we can multiply more than two numbers, share. Sometimes it is one of the numbers, but not always. So this is why we list them out. And as we recall, a product is the result of two or more numbers being multiplied. Now let's get started. All right, so the first pair of numbers we are going to look at is 5 and 3. So we're going to list out our multiples of 5. So we're going to start with 5. Then we're going to go to 10. Then 15. And then just because we want to be sure we go far enough, we'll go to 20. Now we're going to come down and look at the multiples of 3. So we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And we will note 15 is on both lists. We have found our least common multiple for 5 and 3, and it is 15. Next, we are going to look at the numbers 4 and 7. We're going to start with our multiples of 4, which will begin with 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. We'll start a new line because this list got a little longer than we were expecting, 28. And we'll go up to 32 just to be sure. Then we're going to list out the multiples of 7, and we're going to say 7, 14, 21, and 28. And now we have our least common multiple for 4 and 7, and that number is 28. Now if we notice for our first two examples, our least common multiple was the result of the two numbers being multiplied. That is not always the case. However, if you do multiply your two numbers in question, you are guaranteed to find a common multiple. Lastly, we will look at 5 and 8. So we're going to list the multiples of 5 again and say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40. Now we list the multiples of 8. So we start with 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. And we have a least common multiple of 40 for the numbers of 5 and 8. And the last set of numbers we are going to look at is going to be 3, 4, and 6. And remember what I said about if you multiply the numbers together, you will get a common multiple. So let's multiply 3 times 4 times 6. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 times 6 is 72. And while we may say with certainty 72 is a common multiple of 6, that's a little high to be practical to work with. So let's actually go through the process of listing our multiples and see if we can find a more reasonable number to work with. We will start with 3 and say 3, 6, 9, 12, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is far enough, so let's move on to 4, where we have 4, 8, and 12. And look, we found a common multiple for 2. Let's see if we get lucky with 6. 6 will go 6 and 12. And we have our least common multiple of 12, which is much simpler to work with, especially if we're doing fractions, than 72. So while we can guarantee a common multiple, with 72 by multiplying all three numbers together. 12 is our least common multiple. That has been Least Common Multiples. Thank you, and keep learning.